Students at Havana University staged a sit-in protest over the disruptions to their education caused by the country's worsening energy crisis. Power outages and transportation shutdowns have forced the university to reduce its in-person classes or move them online, but many students also struggle with slow internet. A government official also acknowledged financial strain on higher education and blamed the situation on the U.S.'s blockade of the island. The protest highlighting growing frustration among students as the energy crisis continues to affect daily life and schooling. In national news on Monday, a coalition of 17 Democratic state attorney generals filed a lawsuit challenging a Trump administration policy requiring colleges to provide data proving that race is not considered in the admissions decision. The policy was introduced after the Trump administration's concern that universities were using personal statements or other methods to indirectly factor in race. The attorney general argued that the requirement risks violating student privacy and data protection obligations. The lawsuit was filed in a federal court in Boston and claims that the policy could harm students and education institutes. In local news, a restaurant in Westfield has launched a community effort in supporting local sailors serving overseas. The tavern is collecting snacks, toiletries, and other supplies to send in care packages as part of the campaign called Operation Tavern Cares. The idea came from the restaurant staff, and the owner says the response from the community has been overwhelmingly positive. Donations will be accepted at the restaurant through Memorial Day weekend. I'm Shira, and this is news.
Hi, I'm Eli.
And I'm Elias.
And welcome to the Transcript.
This week, we looked into the upcoming local vocal cord bowl and talked to the fencing team about their success at the squad championship.
We learned about working conditions at the Amherst DPW and talked to participants in the Blue Devils Cafe.
On March 3rd, the Amherst Department of Public Works held a rally and public meeting concerning the pay and conditions of workers for the DPW. Employees state that the city is underpaying workers while they work in unsafe conditions. The city came to a tied vote adjourning the meeting. However, there will be another event bringing the union and city to an executive meeting for collective bargaining.
So just to give you some background on the DPW union's, struggle that's going on currently in Amherst. So they have been in contract negotiations now for over a year, and their contract expired about 7 months ago. Initially, they were bargaining, and then in a mediation process with the town. And then recently, I want to say about a month ago, they reached impasse, which means that the contract would have to go into a fact-finding process, which is almost always really bad for the union, just because instead of having the opportunity to sit across the table with their employer, they're now dealing with people who are, outside of the process. And generally speaking, it ends up being that the union has to accept the employer's last offer. It almost never works out in favor of the workers. And so, I think historically, the DPW workers have been underpaid as compared to other workers in other communities doing similar jobs. So there's been like a huge pay disparity, and there's also some health and safety conditions as well that the workers are really concerned about that have not been addressed. And so this particular contract has really been the moment where the workers in the union are saying, enough is enough. You can see that they're really, standing up and trying to get the town to come back to the table and bargain a fair contract. I think that there may be a lack of awareness among residents. I don't think it's something most residents would support. If you follow the Western Mass Area Labor Federation, they've been working really closely with the DPW workers to get out more information about how to support them. So I would definitely check out their Instagram. You can check out their webpage. I think it's westernmassalf.org, and just kind of see what the latest actions are. But I would say that's the best way to stay connected. One of my values and one of the reasons that I ran for office is because I believe that every worker deserves to have fair pay and healthy and safe working conditions and decent benefits. And I think that that's really in line with our town's values of how we've stated that we want to treat our employees with fairness and equity. That's why it's really important to me. And I think we just have to keep working on it as long as it takes.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to know more, you can contact the Amherst DPW in the link below.
On Saturday, March 28th, in the NHS Auditorium, the NHS Chamber Choir in the Northamptons are hosting our annual local vocal cord bowl. This event features 9 a cappella groups and choirs from the area and raises money for music in our schools. Groups from UMass, Smith College, and Amherst Regional High School come together for an evening of singing and celebration. We interviewed members of the Northamptons to find out more about this annual event.
Our experience at Local Vocal Cord Bowl last year was incredible. We really enjoyed having such a wide range of groups, like high school students to older people, and it was just something that really inspired us.
Seeing just kind of how like something similar like singing can just like run through so much time and have like still the same amount of passion behind it, no matter the age, the background, where people are coming from, was a really beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I would have to say that my favorite part was definitely watching the other groups because like there's always like a different style and vibe per group. And like there was a wide range and it was fun to just see all of the different versions of acapella and just performance that you can have at like a wider scheme performance. Always something special. And like the effect that it has on the audience sometimes isn't like tangible, like you can't really see it, but everyone is always left with a wow, they just performed and that was awesome. And they put a lot of time and effort, and you can see that. And having a concert like that is really important because it exposes like so many people to it, whether that's parents, someone who just like read about it was like, huh, I guess I'll go, or the younger generation that like will be interested in maybe pursuing that as a profession or furthering it once they get out of high school or middle school.
With Local Vocal, I'm really honestly mostly excited to see other groups performing. The last gig that we had in February at Silvercord was super fun, getting to meet all of the other people. We're there every single year, and I think we're pretty beloved in the area. I for sure think that this is kind of a tradition, if you will, I guess. I think it's just very important to not just us, but also the community.
If you are interested, tickets are by donation and can be purchased at the door through the website below.
On Sunday, the Northampton fencing team rounded out their season with an impressive showing at the squad championships at Beaver County School. Opening the day was the men's saber event, with the Blue Devils winning their first matchup against Brook 5-2. They ended the tournament in an impressive 4th overall. In the final event of the day, women's épée, the Blue Devils won their first matchup against Star Academy of Boston before losing to eventual gold medalists Weston. In the bronze medal matchup, seniors Willa Barman and River Burnell Wojtek showed out, earning Northampton a 3rd place finish. Today we interviewed some of the fencing team members on fencing at NHS.
The fencing team is a really welcoming environment, you know, of all gender identities, of all sorts of people. There are people who are like total athletes and they've like done a million sports who come to fencing. There are people who have never done a sport ever in their life, and yet, you know, some of those people who have never done a sport end up being some of our best fencers. So, you know, there's so much opportunity to grow.
The Northampton fencing team has a really welcoming community, and there's a lot of new people there, especially this year. So if you're new and you join, then you get like lessons with other new people and you learn with them.
We have really great coaches, really great instruction. It's a really welcoming and fun environment. Our fencing team practices in East Hampton at Pioneer Valley Fencing Academy. And so PVFA generously hosts our practices and some competitions as well.
If you're really into it, after you join, you can join PVFA, the club, which goes on like throughout the year.
It's like learning a whole new language kind of when you first learn, because it's like, you know, it's so unnatural to move in the way you have to move.
I guess when I started, it was definitely very new to me. Like, you have to like kind of learn to move in a new way. But I think it gets a lot more natural and easy as you continue to practice.
In the squad championships, I think what helped me the most was probably my teammates. Both within my squad and outside of my squad, everybody's been super supportive. And just having years of fencing experience, you know, I really felt like it was a good culmination to my fencing career in high school.
If you are interested in doing fencing next year, you can sign up on their website at nhsfencingteam.com.
Thanks for watching. The class of 29 is having a class movie night on March 20th in the auditorium.
Make sure to be there.